When people think about aging and losing muscle, they usually picture a cosmetic problem, shrinking biceps, sagging skin, or losing their aesthetic appeal. The real damage occurs deep inside the body. After age 30, your body begins a quiet demolition project, stripping away about 1% of your muscle mass every single year. By age 50, that decline accelerates. As this diagram shows, muscle is your body's largest glucose sink. It acts like a sponge, pulling sugar out of your blood to be burned for energy. When that muscle disappears, the glucose stays circulating, forcing your body into a permanent, inefficient stress metabolism mode. Protecting your health through this transition doesn't require building giant arms. It requires maintaining 4 specific invisible muscles that have a disproportionate impact on your metabolic and structural survival. Aging strips away the functional engines that regulate your blood sugar and keep you upright. These 4 muscles dictate whether that process leads to frailty or resilience. The gluteus maximus is the largest muscle in your body and your most significant glucose disposal site. When it is active, it stabilizes the entire pelvis and pulls sugar from the blood like a sponge. Modern life actively suffocates this muscle. Sitting for 8 to 12 hours a day compresses the tissue and restricts blood flow. Over time, the muscle atrophies, leaving insulin to work harder and triggering a cascade of high blood sugar and chronic inflammation. Ancient athletes trained the glutes as the primary engine for human locomotion and power. They recognized that a strong posterior chain was the foundation of the entire body's structural integrity. You can reactivate this engine through walking lunges and Bulgarian split squats. These movements load the glutes through a full range of motion, forcing them to pull glucose from the blood to stabilize your body through space. Beneath the visible calf muscle sits the soleus. It is almost entirely slow twitch, meaning it is built for continuous, efficient oxidative metabolism. When working, it converts sugar into energy without relying on stress hormones. The soleus also functions as a peripheral heart. Every contraction pushes venous blood back toward the chest against gravity, preventing circulatory stagnation that increases cardiac workload. This is why soldiers faint on parade grounds. By standing with locked knees, they deactivate the soleus. Without that pump, blood pools in the legs, venous return drops, and the brain is momentarily starved of oxygen. You can engage this muscle even while sitting. The soleus push-up, a simple seated heel raise, is proven to sustain oxidative metabolism and lower blood sugar for hours at a time. These 2 muscles form the body's primary defense against high blood sugar, circulatory stagnation, and the chronic inflammation that drives metabolic disease. The spinal extensors are the thick columns of muscle that protect the central nervous system and keep vertebral discs hydrated. They provide the mechanical force required to hold the human frame upright. If these muscles weaken, the spine collapses forward. The ribcage compresses, which reduces lung capacity and restricts oxygen exchange. This structural failure forces the body into a state of permanent metabolic stress. Frequent loading through back extensions or prone floor extensions creates a pumping effect that draws nutrients into the spinal discs, preventing the loss of height and mobility that usually accompanies aging. On the front of the shin, the tibialis anterior performs one critical task. It lifts your toes during every step you take. Falls are the leading cause of injury-related death in adults over 65. Weakness in this specific muscle is the #1 predictor of fall risk. When the tibialis fails to lift the toes, you begin to scuff your feet. A caught toe leads to a tripped curb, which can result in a hip fracture. For the elderly, the bed rest and muscle wasting that follow a fracture are often impossible to recover from. A strong tibialis anterior prevents this by lifting the foot to clear obstacles and absorbing the impact of each heel strike. Training it through weighted or body weight tib raises ensures a stable, confident gait. Keeping the spinal extensors and the tibialis anterior responsive provides the structural stability needed to avoid physical frailty and accidents. This decline is insidious. It happens quietly over decades, remaining invisible in a mirror until the metabolic or structural damage is already severe.
Human muscle tissue retains its capacity to adapt and rebuild at any age. Even in your 70s or 80s, the body will respond to the right stimulus by regenerating the tissue it needs to survive. The intervention is simple: walking lunges, back extensions, seated calf raises, and tib raises. Doing these 4 exercises for 20 minutes a few times a week provides the minimum effective dose for long-term health. Traditional training often prioritizes vanity metrics, but this protocol builds the foundation for functional independence and metabolic stability. Your body is going to age. Whether that process leads to frailty or resilience is decided by how you train these 4 muscles today.